Hey guys. Last month, a couple of congressmen questioned the high amount of pay that federal employees in the Labor Department were receiving. And it will not take long for more questions to be asked about other departments and agencies. The congressmen suggested that our federal employees were receiving too much money, largely due to the locality pay rate combined with the impact teleworking has caused from the pandemic. The pandemic has been among us for the last 2 years, and this has resulted in the most number of federal employees that are currently teleworking, which essentially means working from home, and that even includes myself. In 2020, when it became obvious that this pandemic would extend to months of teleworking, many federal employees decided to relocate to different states. Employees traveled back to a lot of states or cities that have a much lower cost of living than they were currently working at. For example, if you were a federal employee working in Washington, D.C., you receive a 34% pay increase to your salary because of the locality pay rate. It's a high cost area. Immediately after the pandemic in the spring of 2020, you could have then moved from the DC area to Mississippi or Indiana and still receive that 34% higher salary as you continue to telework for your office back in DC. Has this been happening? Yes, it has happened quite a bit. Is it fair? Well, these are the type of questions that are now being brought up in Congress. The two congressmen were from Kentucky and North Carolina. And what they specifically said was that they were very concerned that the Department of Labor is paying employees working from alternative work sites at local pay rates that do not align with their physical work locations. I will leave the original article in the description below if you're interested in reading it. As I continue to read on, it states that March 7th, 2022 is the projected date for the Department of Labor to finish a phased-in re-entry back to the workplace. Now, in the federal government, over the past couple of years, most of federal employees have heard multiple dates on when to expect to be back into the office. And as of yet, there has not been a definite date. In my opinion, the return dates will continue to shift as new variants continue to emerge and return plans have to be reworked. Understand that most departments will have the flexibility and authority to set their own internal plans and timelines for returning back to the workplace. There will probably not be a blanket policy for all federal agencies. And aside from the locality pay rate issue, many members of Congress have expressed the amount of federal employees currently teleworking is a problem. Last year, members of Congress have called on the Biden administration to return more teleworking federal employees back to their workplaces. One congressman was quoted saying that maximum telework is not working for the American people. One highlight with this concern was the IRS, as there is still a large backlog of tax returns. And we are already entering into the next tax filing season. Multiple congressmen have written directly to the IRS asking what steps are they taking to bring their federal employees back to the regular work sites. Now, I personally believe it will be a long time before we see 100% of federal employees working back in the office. But many people believe we could end up seeing employees show up once or twice a week to their physical work sites. Before the pandemic, most of the federal departments and agencies in and around the DC area offered teleworking once or twice a week for federal employees. This will likely only increase in the coming years. There is a clear benefit to teleworking, not just for federal employees, but also for the federal department or agency. For the worker, it means they're able to spend more time with their families or their hobbies, and also they spend less money on gasoline, car repairs, bus fares, and food. For the department or agency, they are spending less taxpayer money on supplies, such as printer ink, paper, folders, pens. They're also not consuming the same amount of utilities, such as electricity, water, and sewage, because there are not the same amount of employees in those buildings. Obviously, there are certain jobs that cannot be performed by teleworking, such as security or food handlers. Also in the DC area, and probably in most metro areas, the restaurant industry is suffering when the federal employees are not in their offices. Thankfully, my job can be performed completely through teleworking, and there is not the same sense of urgency to return back to the office as there might be in other departments. I enjoy teleworking, and I don't believe it impacts my office's productivity. What do you think of the current federal government teleworking policies? Do you believe federal employees and departments can be just as effective if they're not physically present in their offices? Or do you believe it is time to get everyone back into the offices? Let me know down below. Well, that wraps up my video on federal government employees are being paid too much. If you have any questions or comments or you feel like I missed something, please leave that down below. If you like this video, please click like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you for watching.